Solo Psycho laughed, looked Jacob Fatu dead in the eye, and sent a message back to the tribal chief that Roman Reigns has not heard from anyone in a very long time. No. Welcome back to Wrestling Stands, the channel that breaks down every word, every warning, and every moment where the Bloodline story shifts into a gear that makes everything else on the card feel like a support act. I'm your host, and today we are covering the SmackDown Backstage segment that has just reignited one of the most compelling faction stories in professional wrestling. Because Jacob Fatu found Solo Psycho, he delivered the message from Roman Reigns. He extended the invitation, issued the warning, and stood there representing the original tribal chief with everything the Samoan werewolf could bring to a corridor confrontation. And Solo Psycho rejected every syllable of it, with a laugh, with contempt that was not aggressive but somehow more cutting for being completely calm, and with a counter-challenge so direct and so personally pointed that the entire WWE universe is now counting down to next week's SmackDown with the specific, electric anticipation of people who know they are about to witness something significant. Roman Reigns is being called out to his face, on a show he does not always appear on, by a man who used to be his most trusted instrument and who has decided, definitively and loudly, that he will never be that again. Bloodline cinema, as the fans say, is back, and it is operating at full voltage. Let's break down every moment of this segment, every word, every implication, and everything it means for what comes next. Quick favor before we get into it, if you enjoy this kind of content, please smash that like button and hit subscribe. Over 98% of viewers watch without subscribing. It's totally free for you, but it means the world to us and helps the channel grow. Already subscribed? You're absolutely brilliant, thank you. Alright, let's get into the video. Before we get into the main event of this breakdown, let's quickly acknowledge the other development from SmackDown that is adding fuel to an already blazing championship picture, because Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes exchanged slaps. Actual, reciprocal, fully committed slaps. And if you know anything about how WWE uses the slap as a storytelling device, it is not a casual physical exchange. It is a relationship marker. A slap means we have moved from words into something more personal. We have crossed a threshold. Something between these two people has changed. Cody Rhodes, as undisputed WWE Champion, is currently at the center of more converging storylines than perhaps any other performer in the company right now. Centimeter Punk has been vocal. Gunther has his own stipulation in play. Randy Orton has a rematch to collect on. And now Sami Zayn, best friend, former tag partner, one of the most beloved performers in the locker room, has slapped the champion and had the slap returned. The chair that Sami brought and chose not to use is the most interesting prop on SmackDown this week. It tells you the story is not ready for its next chapter yet. Sami had the weapon. He put it down. That decision, that specific, deliberate restraint, is WWE telling the audience, we are building something here, and we are not going to let you have it before it is ready. Sami Zayn as the next challenger for the undisputed WWE Championship is a story that writes itself with remarkable emotional clarity. Former friends, a personal history that goes back years, a man who has earned every step of his trajectory through some of the most genuine, organically generated crowd connection in the modern era. That is a future chapter, and on the evidence of Friday's slap exchange, it is a chapter that is being written now, even if the pages have not been turned yet. Right, the main event of the evening. Jacob Fatu found Solo Psycho backstage, Solo adjusting his clothes, composed, entirely in his own domain on the SmackDown brand, and delivered the words he had been sent to deliver. I have a message for you, from the tribal chief. Roman Reigns wants you back in the bloodline. And Solo Psycho laughed, not the laugh of someone who finds something genuinely amusing, the laugh of someone who has just been handed exactly the opening they have been waiting for. The laugh of a man who has rehearsed his response to this moment in his own mind multiple times and is now enjoying the opportunity to deliver it for real. Solo has known this was coming. He issued the condition Roman comes personally, specifically to force this sequence. He wanted to be approached by a messenger. He wanted to demonstrate, publicly and on camera, his absolute refusal of the offer through the most dismissive possible response available. The laugh was not a reaction. It was a performance. And it was aimed directly at Jacob Fatu in the most effective way Solo could have aimed it. Because what Solo actually said, and the transcript is extraordinary in its specificity and its deliberateness, was not primarily about Roman Reigns. It was about Jacob Fatu. Look who you are acknowledging as the tribal chief. Jacob Fatu, you used to be the Samoan werewolf. Today you are on your knees. You used to be so powerful, putting everyone on their knees, destroying them. How could you not defeat Roman Reigns? Why did you bow down to him? Solo did not engage with Roman's offer. He engaged with Fatu. He used the delivery of the message as an opportunity to escalate his assault on Fatu's identity, the same assault he began in their first confrontation, now extended and intensified with new material. Because now Solo has something he did not have before. Now Solo can point at the result of Clash in Italy, at the Tribal Combat match, at the outcome that means Jacob Fatu came to this SmackDown as Roman's messenger rather than as the World Heavyweight Champion. You lost to Roman Reigns. 4 words that, from Solo Siko's mouth to Jacob Fatu's ears in a backstage corridor in front of cameras, are designed to land on the exact wound that the You're My Dog confrontation has already opened. Solo is working the injury, and the injury is real, then the formal rejection. And it was comprehensive. Solo Siko, having already spent the emotional charge of the opening laugh and the identity assault, turned to the substance of the message and dismantled it with the efficiency of a man who has no internal conflict about his decision. I am never coming back to the Bloodline. I am absolutely not aligning with Roman Reigns. Did I leave Roman Reigns just to go back to him? I do not like Roman Reigns, and I will not join him. That is not a negotiating position. That is a closed door, bolted from the inside. There is no clause in Solo's rejection that leaves room for a revised offer, a better package, a different messenger, or a more persuasive argument. The rejection is total. And the reasoning behind it, did I leave Roman Reigns just to go back to him, is not about the specific terms of the return. It is about the principle of the return. Solo Siko left Roman's bloodline at significant personal cost, built something of his own on SmackDown, asserted his own identity and his own authority and his own understanding of what the family's legacy should look like. Going back, regardless of the terms, would mean acknowledging that the departure was a mistake, that the independent period was a detour rather than a direction. That Solo Siko, at the end of everything, finds his way back to standing behind Roman Reigns. Solo would rather do anything, literally anything, then stand behind Roman Reigns again. Jacob Fatu's warning, if you do not follow the tribal chief's orders, I will have to come after you, is the moment that tells us the most about where Fatu's head currently is. And what it tells us is uncomfortable. Because Fatu issuing that warning, with Roman's You're My Dog, you do as I say presumably still resonating in some part of his psychology, means Fatu is carrying out Roman's authority even while carrying that wound. He is enforcing. He is representing. He is threatening on Roman's behalf. Even after everything. The discipline of that, the commitment to a decision that has been genuinely tested and questioned and confirmed by Roman in the most degrading possible language, is either the deepest expression of Jacob Fatu's loyalty that we have seen, or it is a man who has not yet decided what to do about what Roman said and is continuing to function on the existing program while that decision forms. The enforcer role has its own momentum. It is easier to keep going than to stop. And Fatu, for all his extraordinary physical ability and psychological complexity, is still in the phase of the story where the stop has not yet arrived. Solo's response to the warning, yeah, whatever it is, come after me and do what you want, but I will not bow to him, is Solo at his most interesting. Because he is not backing down from the physical threat. He is accepting it. He is essentially saying, come if you have to come, Fatu. Do what Roman has told you to do. I am still not going to bow. The threat does not change the decision. It does not change who Solo Siko is. And Solo, unlike Jacob Fatu right now, seems entirely clear on who he is. The counter-challenge that everything this segment has been building toward. If your tribal chief is serious about me joining him, tell him to come to SmackDown next week. I will meet him there, and only then will things be cleared up face to face. Roman Reigns. SmackDown. Next week. Face to face with Solo Siko. Let's talk about why this challenge is constructed the way it is, because Solo has not just issued an open call for Roman to appear. He has issued a specific, conditional, deliberately framed challenge that puts Roman in an extremely uncomfortable position regardless of how he responds. If Roman comes to SmackDown, if he walks out on the blue brand and meets Solo Siko face to face as demanded, he fulfills the condition that Solo set. Which means Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, the most powerful person in WWE's internal hierarchy, has responded to an employee's demands by showing up where he was told to show up when he was told to show up there. That is a significant concession of the initiative. Roman coming to Solo on Solo's terms is Roman acknowledging, whether he intends to or not, that Solo's conditions are the conditions that must be met. Solo controls the when and the where. Roman controls nothing about the meeting except what he says when he arrives. If Roman does not come to SmackDown, if he ignores the challenge, sends another representative, or simply allows the demand to hang unanswered in the public discourse, he looks like the man who issued an invitation and then did not have the will or the ability to follow through when the invitation was rejected and a counter condition was set. The tribal chief who could not bring Solo Sikoa back, who had to resort to threats through Jacob Fatu, whose authority Solo Sikoa publicly, explicitly, and with complete composure declined to acknowledge. That image, Roman's authority visibly failing to function on SmackDown, is enormously damaging to the foundation of everything the tribal chief persona is built upon. Solo has constructed a trap with no comfortable exit, and he set it with words. No physicality required. Let's step back and look at the full landscape of this storyline as it currently exists, because the SmackDown segment sits within a web of developments that are all moving simultaneously and all pointing toward a convergence that WWE is clearly building toward with intention and ambition. Roman said "You're my dog" to Jacob Fatu. Solo called Fatu a lapdog weeks ago and has now been confirmed right in the most public way possible. Fatu is simultaneously Roman's enforcer and carrying an identity wound that Solo keeps prodding with expert accuracy. The Usos are watching Roman's authority be tested in multiple directions at once. Solo is operating as an independent force on SmackDown with enough confidence and enough support that he can reject the tribal chief's invitation in front of cameras and walk away with his head high. And Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn are reminding the Raw landscape that the championship picture there is equally complicated with its own convergent storylines. This is WWE at its best. Multiple threads running simultaneously, each of them connected to the others in ways that reward the audience for paying attention across both shows. The Bloodline Civil War is not a Monday Night Raw story or a SmackDown story. It is a story that spans the entire WWE landscape, with characters on both brands contributing to and being affected by every development. Solo's rejection on SmackDown has consequences for Raw. What Roman does next on Raw has consequences for SmackDown. Jacob Fatu stands in the middle of both, carrying messages and wounds simultaneously. Will Roman Reigns appear on SmackDown next week? The honest answer, based on everything the storytelling has been building and everything that Solo's condition requires, is he almost has to. Not because Roman Reigns responds to demands, historically and characteristically, he does not. But because allowing Solo's rejection to stand unanswered, allowing the "I am never coming back" and the "come face to face if you're serious" to exist in the public WWE narrative without a response, would represent a failure of Roman's authority on a scale that the character cannot afford right now. Not with the Fatu situation developing the way it is, not with the Jey Uso trajectory suggesting a challenger emerging from within the family, not with Cody Rhodes carrying "You're the next" in his back pocket. Roman Reigns has too many plates in the air to let one fall publicly. Solo Sikoa's rejection is a plate that Roman will not leave on the floor. Next week's SmackDown, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, face to face, the condition set, the stage prepared. The entire WWE universe watching to see whether the tribal chief shows up, and if he does, what the hell happens when he gets there. Bloodline cinema is back, and it has arrived with more fuel and more fire and more genuine narrative complexity than any previous chapter of this story has had. Solo is right. Roman is dangerous. Fatu is wounded. The Usos are watching. And somewhere in a private room backstage, Paul Heyman is probably staring at his phone thinking, this is either the greatest story we have ever told, or everything is about to go sideways. Either way, we are watching every second of it. Thank you so much for watching. Wrestling Stands family means everything, as always. We'll see you in the next one.